Our affirmation for this week, if you would say it with me, please. It is okay to feel forsaken when life calls me to change. I can transform it by bringing it into the light. When I was in high school, I was told that I am so blessed, I am chosen to be a nun, to go into the convent. So 26 of us young women were there, and we were postulants for 6 months, and it was a semi-cloistered order. What did I know? But let me tell you, do I look like I'm semi-cloistered? No, not at all. So, after the 6 months, we were to have this very, very special ceremony where we would receive our habits and our white veil. And then we were to stand in a single file and walk forward for this special ceremony. So we were walking and walking and waiting. We were used to waiting, all of us were. Waiting, and pretty soon, I can hear a buzzing sound. Buzz, I'm not good at it, but buzz, you know what I mean. And as I'm walking and hearing this sound, of course I want to look out a line to see what's going on, but you don't do that. You don't do that. So I'm still holding everything right here, walking very slowly, and when I get to, there's 2 in front of me, I see we are having our hair all shaved off. My God, why have you forsaken me? Oh. So for the past few weeks, we've been hearing those 7 living words, as Mark calls them. The first word was, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Jesus asks us to forgive, and that forgiveness be done through us. Today, you will be with me in paradise. That's the second word. There it is. Okay, and that is, remember the 2 that were crucified next to him? One, Mark talked about being the past, and the other being the present. And he stressed that we be in the now moment. Last week, it was Jesus said to his mother, Woman, this is my son. Then he said, John, this is your mother. Behold your son, behold your mother. He was talking about us being one in humanity. We are all one, every one of us. There is no difference. This week, my God, why have you forsaken me? Okay. Jesus was in the middle of his crucifixion, and he said those words. And you might say, well, he's an enlightened being. He's our way shower. That's what Unity calls Jesus, our way shower. What is he doing? Forsaking, feeling forsaken. Jesus was in his truth. He wasn't afraid to be who he was, to be in his truth. Think about the relationship he must have had with God, that intimate relationship, that he could actually let God know how he was feeling. Everything Jesus did, he did for us. He did for our awakening. He did it so that we would be able to live our lives free, to live our lives in truth. And if Jesus could be truthful, why can't we? Most of us have a wonderful relationship with God, or we're working on it. And maybe we can be truthful to God. question is, can we be truthful with our spouses? Can we be truthful with our friends? With the people that we work with one another? Can we? Can we be our authentic selves? Are we free to do that? Well, you know what? I think all of us have experienced this. It's called the dark night of the soul. You ever had one of those? Yeah. So it's that dark tunnel that puts us right up against our truth. Look at that. Oof. There is a light at the end, though. There's a light. But you know what? We have to experience death of a loved one or a friend. We have to experience death of a spouse. We experience losing a job. We experience not having enough money. We maybe have experienced health issues. All of us have experienced a dark night of the soul. All of us have been in a tunnel, right? Would you raise your hands if you've ever been in a tunnel or a dark night of the soul? I'm raising both of mine. And if I had more arms, they'd be coming out all over. Okay? Yeah. So put those hands up again. I just want you to look around. Just look around. My gosh, we're all one. We're all one. We can't get away with not experiencing coming up against our truth. Painful. Hurts. There's a lot of shame and guilt that we go through. Why did she yell at me? Why did I lose my job? Why did my husband have to go and die? You know, we feel sometimes like we're in quicksand. We're confused. And we're tempted to turn back because it's more familiar to have that dull ache than it is to really and truly keep forging ahead. Jesus was able to speak the truth, and that pushed him ahead. That pushed him ahead to what would be his resurrection. And we can have that too. Here's the thing. If I don't deal with what's going on for me, I get resentful. I get angry. And I stuff it, you know, like stuff it under the rug. Could you imagine stuffing everything under the rug? It would be like, we would probably be tripping and falling because we wouldn't be able to walk because there'd be so much under there for sure. But if I don't deal with what's going on for me, to find my truth, to know that this is a chance for me to really grow, to have my awakening even happen more, then it becomes a stumbling block for me, and I don't grow. I stay stuck. Some people stay stuck for 30 years. Some people stay stuck their entire lives. But what happens to me is I go into victim mode. And Mark has talked about it a few times in here. Complaining, blaming, gossiping. You know, I'll go into that. Let me tell you a story. My late husband, not Gary, he's still here. My late husband's name was John. He was a doctor, but he didn't listen to himself or his doctors. He was very ill. He did not take care of himself at all. He ended up dying at a pretty early age because he did not take care of himself. Well, when it came to the point where he was going to be home all the time and needed home care, he wanted me and only me to take care of him. Nobody else could do the job that I could do. I don't know how to do health care. I have a thriving business right now doing spiritual coaching. So I'm not happy at all about this. And I go into ultimate victim mode. Why me? I mean, come on, we've got the money. You can get the help you need. Give me a break. I don't want to get worn out. I'm thinking all these things. Meanwhile, I'm blaming him, complaining, gossiping to my friends about he just doesn't get it. Until finally, I decide, why can't you just tell him the truth? Why can't you just be brave enough to tell him the truth? Take a deep breath with me, because I needed one. I needed one then. And I said, let's talk this out. Of course I want to take care of you. Of course I want to be there for you. But I can't be there 24/7 because I have a life. Boy, did I feel free after I did that. But what I put myself through, and everybody else that got to hear all the negative stuff, was horrible. I found in Mark's book, the 7 Living Words, on page 115 to be exact, a wonderful acronym for the word victim. I want to share that with you. There it is. Look at that. Vicious imaginings concealing true, infinite mercy. Here we go. Dark night of the soul, vicious imaginings, of course. I was so viciously imagining things that were not working in my life. I spent a lot of time in that. And then I realized I was concealing the truth of who I was, and that the truth was the only way to be in peace and in love. Once I got to that point, this is why I love this so much, it just really filled it in for me. I get to the infinite mercy of God, always present, even in the biggest mess. The infinite mercy of God, always there for me. We've been taught, with stuffing things under the rug, to also say, all is well, all is good, I'm fine, when a lot of times it isn't. But we've been trained to do that. We really have. We were programmed at a very young age to not complain and to not be our true selves. Not on purpose, but it happened. So what we do is we pretend. And we're afraid if we tell the truth that we might be mean. And it really holds us back from being who we are. Now, when I just digressed there for a minute. When I got to this point with infinite mercy and realizing it, I go like this. Now, this is from now on in my life. Ding, 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 OMG, OMG. It's time to pray. It's time to meditate. It's time to journal. It's time to write a letter, maybe to the person that you really want to talk to, or maybe to God. Maybe you're mad as heck at God. Whatever, God can take it. We saw that. Jesus proved it. And maybe you need a spiritual coach. I had to throw that in. Maybe you're listening. Maybe you have a trusted friend that will actually listen to you and say, go on. I'm listening, not try to give you advice, but be there for you. That's when you say, let me get to the end of that tunnel. Let me get there. Now, don't forget, Jesus is there, right with us. He's our way sharer. He has the flashlight with the ever-ready batteries in it. And he's waiting for you to take it because he has said over and over again, the truth will set you free. You will be free. You have to be pretty brave. But once you do that, and you realize that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life for you, and that all of the things that we read about in the New Testament were Jesus always taking us to the next step of our awakening, to our freedom, to our truth. Really fabulous when you think about it. Telling the truth gets us right through that tunnel. So even when we're tempted to turn back, when we're tempted to say, I don't think I'm brave enough today, the brave thing to do is to go forward. No matter what, just go forward. Keep going. Keep that flashlight, that light of God that is within you, that Christ consciousness. Keep it with you and keep forging ahead. I need a deep breath. Do you? Wow. Jesus will get us through. if we do what we need to do for ourselves. Now remember, Jesus was in the tomb for 3 days. So it might take us 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 minutes. It's up to us how long we want to go before we get ourselves at the other end of that tunnel to that light. It's up to us. But wouldn't it be interesting this week if we were actually able to say, I'm feeling a little forsaken right now. I'm feeling just a little bit forsaken right now. Be interesting if we could do that. Rumi, a 13th century mystic poet, wrote a poem that I would like to share with you. Be truthful now. See yourself as you plainly are. You've got a hidden wound, and this is no time for posing. When inward tenderness finds that secret hurt, the pain itself will crack the rock open, and let the soul emerge. There you are. There you are, you beautiful, gorgeous flower, all of you, who are willing to go, to do it, to have that faith, to have that trust, to be truly who you are. Look at what happens to you. Look at how beautiful you are. Oh my gosh. And it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning. So I leave you with that poem and that thought of taking your time to get in touch with your feelings, to not bury them, so that you can live your truth, be in your truth. Oh, P.S. By the way, my hair grew back. It was short, but it was cute. I left the convent. That's it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You're so good to me. Thank you. Let us pray. God is perseverance. God is truth. God is light, and I am perseverance. I am truth, and I am light. And I know this to be true for all of us here. I affirm this presence and truth, knowing that the light of the ever-present God is with me, with you, in all of us, bringing light to our lives. And I see through this beautiful, wonderful Jesus that perseverance and truth that he had raises our consciousness and raises us up to be who we are meant to be, the light of God. And we are set free with that. I declare this day, this very day, that we can be and we are set free right now. I am so grateful for the fulfillment of this prayer. And I release this into the action of the law that always says yes. And so it is.